Howdy folks, here we are back at the office to put the sensor box together. What I've got is a clear acrylic display case that I bought from a seller on eBay. It's just under 6 inches high, and I'm going to use it upside down in the pool. I'm going to drill several holes across the bottom and across the top so that water can flow in and equilibrate. And I'm going to drill some holes in the top for the float sensors, and then I'm going to make a notch in the top or another hole to allow the wires to pass out and not be crimped as the box moves around. So what we'll do is we'll figure out where to put the sensors. The sensors are 1 inch in diameter, and this box is 2.5 inches. So basically I've figured out where to put the holes for the wires. The wires are going to drop on through. I'm going to stabilize the wires with straws so that the floats don't bump into each other. And then I'm going to tug the wires up tight against the top of the straws, and then make a little knot in the top of the wires to keep them in place. So let's do some drilling. Okay, so take the box apart. And we've got our drill. And we're just going to go into the place where I put a center punch mark. All right. Unfortunately, I do not have the straws at this time, but what we're going to do is basically proof of concept. So we're going to try it without the straws. So we're going to take the sensors, take this sticker off. Do this in a safe way so that I don't get cut. There we are. Feed the wiring through the top. Actually, what we'll do is we'll notch this out right now, and we'll just use the utility knife to make that notch. I'm using some paint stir sticks as a backer for doing this work. These are 5-gallon stir sticks, which are very, very nice and convenient. I'm just going to use a pair of pliers to break off the notched area. There we are. Perfect. I'm going to feed the wires through. Sensor number 1. Get them straight. Feed the wires in for sensor number 2. All right, so that's the concept, that the sensors will sit in the box, and they need to be kept out of each other's way and kept away from the side of the box, so that's what the straws are going to do. So what I'll do now is I'll drill holes in the sides and then drill holes around the top to let the air out. what we'll do is we'll use some black electrical tape to make it less likely that the drill will skip. Do the same around the top. All right, so let's drill. We'll drill 8 holes in each, 4 holes in each side. Go to high speed. These holes we want as near to the bottom as we can get. So now we'll take the tape off and see how we did. Hopefully it didn't crack the plastic much punching through. No, it looks pretty good. And take the tape off down here. Looking pretty good. Okay. All right. Howdy folks, we're back. I went to the garage and I found a roll of polyethylene tubing with a 1/4 inch inner diameter, and this is the equivalent of a straw. It's a lot stiffer than a straw, but another nice thing is that when I bend it, it will take that bend and presumably stay pretty straight. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut 2 pieces of the straw, of this tubing, so that one is slightly longer and will basically go from the top of the switch to the bottom of the inside of the cover. So that's that long. And if we have a handy dandy Sharpie, we make them work. And then the next one we're going to make 1/2 inch shorter. Well, I know 1 inch shorter. So we'll chop this one first and see how that ends up. So we'll get our utility knife and some paint stir sticks. Make our little cut. All right. Let's trim that off nice and flush. Okay, very good. So we will take this one as our primary. Feed the wires through. And go to the top there. Then feed the wires through the lid. So that when the wires are snugged up, will look like that. I'm just going to take this other one out. And we will see how that looks. All right, so that's a little bit high, I think. But the beauty of this is that we can easily adjust the length of the tubing to set for different heights on the container, and thus different heights in the pool. We'll go with that for now, and we'll take the next piece of tubing basically 1 inch above that. So flip this over. Did I put the wires in backwards? think I may have. I have not, yeah, okay. I did put the wires in backwards. So there's my notch for the wires to come out. So not much time lost. So we're going to basically take the next piece of tubing and make a mark an inch higher. This is our basically for our backup sensor. And chop her off. Okay, so that's the tubing for the backup sensor. We'll feed the wiring for that through. So backup sensor sits a little higher. So now we'll load both sensors into the lid. The correct way so that the notch, the wiring is on the top. There we are. So it's backup sensor. What we'll do is we'll knot this at the top just to keep the sensor sort of in place like that. There's no polarity to the sensor wires, so it doesn't matter which wire goes to where. And then the other one we will feed through and do the same thing. This is the primary sensor. But what we're going to do is we're not going to chop the wires off until we are sure that we have the sensors at the correct height. So now we'll do the same thing, knotting this wire here. Okay. So now we have our two sensors set at slightly different heights. And they should, hopefully, ideally, they're not going to run into each other or run into the wall of the box. And so we rotate the tubing as we need to make sure that they don't run into the wall of the box or each other. Then we drop them into the box. And it looks like they should be able to move pretty freely. If necessary, we can rotate the wires at the top so that they point in different directions. And if necessary, we'll put a little caulk or something at the top to seal them in place. But right now, we're looking pretty good. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to tie one lead from each of the sensors together and tie it with a wire nut. So now they are in series. In order for the sprinkler valve to run, both sensors have to be in the down position. So as the water rises, the sensor at the bottom, the float will rise and shut off. And if this sensor is stuck in the up position because of debris or gunk, then the second sensor float will rise, and then it will shut off the sprinkler valves. So it's looking pretty good. So we will give her a test in the morning. Thanks very much for watching, and thanks for making it better with me.